It's time once again for the Kennett Indian Coaches Show as we visit with Kennett Indian head basketball coach Noll Billings. And Coach, we're doing this interview on Wednesday afternoon. Your team will be going to Poplar Bluff shortly to resume a game that was snowed out, which we don't get to say often in basketball, but that was the case.
Came down quick, didn't it?
It did, and you're going to pick up in the second quarter, so it's going to be a little different. We'll talk about that one in just a moment, but you had a couple of games here at Kennett, the first against Greenville on a Saturday afternoon after all the ice and closed school, and I know it had to be frustrating for you. Your team, looking at them, just, the talent and all of that, had a real chance to beat Greenville, but I know you weren't happy with the performance on Saturday.
Yeah, we went into that knowing Greenville was 17-1, knowing that they've been beating a lot of teams, but I fully expected our kids to beat them, expected us to get out there, and they were, from tip-off to buzzer, played harder than us. The effort was better. Somebody had mentioned to me, well, it's hard to get up for a Saturday makeup game, and I just remember saying, Greenville's kids didn't have a problem getting up for it. We got to change the consistent effort. Our guys are known for really getting after people, but it's not every night, and it's not four quarters. For instance, Malden. If you look at the Malden film, first quarter we looked ferocious, and then we get, the second quarter we looked okay. Third quarter we looked bad, and what happens is you end up losing the game. Same thing with Senath, but Greenville in particular, we weren't happy at all with our effort. I told the guys, hey, when I was hired, I made a couple promises, and one of those was effort's not going to be in question. Intensity's not going to be a question, not from the coaching staff and not from the players, and that's something we got to fix. And it's year one, but we're fixing it, and the kids are helping us do it, and it's a process.
Well, you had Senath Hornersville here on Tuesday night. A nice victory, a big rivalry.
Huge.
I know you grew up with it, and all the Senath Hornersville fans look forward to that one. And the place was loud. Senior night, and you had a couple of seniors really step up big in that win.
Well, the seniors have been big all year, especially in the sense that it was their night, and to have them step up, it was just a lot of fun. Blake, Raspberry, if you've watched the show previously, you know that, I pretty much just made him come out for basketball. He hadn't played the last couple of years, but Daniel coming out, Boatman, who just signed a scholarship to play football, was huge for us. They guard, they play hard, they do whatever's asked of them, they do. And that's something that you just got to love as a coach. And we got the win. That's the most important thing. The gym was loud. I think I'd like to challenge our crowd to be louder than whoever comes in here. Last night, Senath was really rowdy, and we had a good support system, but I'd like to get them to make a little noise.
You bet. And those loud crowds certainly make a difference.
Heck yeah, it's fun.
So come on out and support this ball club. Of course, going to Poplar Bluff, you're going to pick up in the second quarter of that one, and then you got another rivalry game when you go up to Dexter on Friday night. So a lot going on. Let's talk a little bit about that victory over Senath Hornersville, because
Absolutely.
you had some players with really big performances. Deshaun Wilson, of course. I thought, I know he was your leading scorer, but also defensively, he may have had one of his best games.
He always plays hard. That's something that I can say. I wasn't happy with his play first 5-6 games of the year, but I was always happy with his performance, with his effort. I wasn't happy with the result or what his shooting and scoring, but I've always been happy with his effort. And he's a sophomore. Just keep this in mind. He's just a sophomore. Usually I'd consider a kid varsity experience-wise when he's a junior. That's when I expect you to know where to be, and I expect you not to be lost. He's a sophomore, but he always gets after it, and it's starting to come together on both ends. And I'm telling you, whoever he's matched up against nightly, he's not going to be happy about it. He's somebody that's going to guard you, and he's going to be in your face, and he's not going to get worn out quick. He's got a battery, he's got a motor, and besides, we all know he can score. But that's something that we've asked him to bring to the table, and that's something he brings to the table. The Lane kid's hard to keep up with. He's given everybody buckets, everybody they've played against. And what do you have last night? Do you know?
No, I can't remember.
I don't think it was more than 12 or 13.
No.
Um,
And really kept him down in the first half. He
Absolutely.
didn't score a lot then.
and it was a deal where we challenged our guys to stay in front of their man, keep him out of the paint, plant your feet, and take a charge if he puts his head down. And it's something that they were able to do. We didn't have to help a lot, which means they didn't knock down a ton of threes. I was telling some people after the game, first of all, no matter what kind of Kennett team you got, expect Senath to come in and play you hard. I mean, we were a top team in the area. We won the Boot Hill Conference tournament when I was in school. Senath played us tight. Well, I think we won by 2 points my senior year at home. Senath's going to get up for this is a big game for them. So, when they come in, first of all, they got a better record than us. They're 14-7. So it's not a game that you expect to blow Senath out. You want to get the W. And that's what we did. I think they've got 5 losses to us in Crothersville.
Yep.
They've played Crothersville 3 times. If you've played Crothersville 3 times this year, you probably got 3 losses because they've only lost a couple games.
Yeah, they've got a really good team.
Top 10 in the state team.
Well, it's always good to get the win, and you got one in front of a loud crowd here at Kennett on Tuesday night. We're going to take a break. We'll talk about the resumption of the Poplar Bluff game and a road trip up to Dexter coming up on Friday night. We'll talk about that with Coach Noll Billings when the Kennett Indian Coaches Show continues right after this. Back with Kennett Indian head basketball coach Noll Billings and the team about to load on a bus, go to Poplar Bluff, and resume a game that ended at the end of the first quarter. And have you ever participated in a game where you started in the second quarter, Coach?
No, sir. I was really confused by that. I thought it was, if it was a half, you'd go back to the half that you got to. But anything under that, I was always under the impression you'd start over. I don't care where they started. I think it benefits us just as much as it benefits them. I think they got a couple kids in early foul trouble. We had a bad start, so we're down 10 or 11. But I think 11. We're down 11, but they got a couple kids in foul trouble. We're ready. We'll get after it. That's a team that they think they can outrun us, and I feel like the only way we don't have a chance is if we slow it down. So let's run. Let's get stretched out and loosen up and off to the races.
One thing when you go on the road and play a game like that, when it resumes at 4:15, I wouldn't expect a real big Poplar Bluff crowd to be on hand for that one. And sometimes that's an advantage. It's almost like a practice or a summertime jamboree type game when you play one of those.
I know when I was a player, even if it was 100% the opposing team's crowd, I always liked the crowd. Always. Even if it was all boos and they were chanting your name or an air ball or whatever they're chanting. Hopefully they weren't chanting air ball too much when I had the ball. But I always prefer the crowd. However, being at Bluff, yeah, it can work to our advantage. The biggest thing for us, though, is to get out to a good start. We're not – it seems like most nights we either are down 10 or 15 early or we're giving up a big run, and we got to limit the runs. Last night even – we had seen it down 12 or so early. And right there in the middle of the beginning of the third, they just hit that stretch where we just looked awful. Turnovers plus falling asleep on defense plus effort. I mean, you can get away with mistakes if you have effort and your intensity levels there. And our guys, we don't have 5 guys that I can tell you without a doubt I know we're going to bring effort every single play for 4 quarters. We don't. And that's the mission, to find those 5, and then hopefully we can find 10. But right now it's a process, and it's year 1 for us and this coaching staff. It's year 1 for these guys to get to know us, and I'm proud of them. We've gotten to 8 wins. We inherited 5. So we are fixing the issues we can fix and working towards the future.
Well, that future, you're going to lose 2 seniors, but and some guys on the JV team that will be contributing a lot on the varsity level next year. That kind of get a hint of it now. And but you had a youngster came in that started last night for you that provided a start.
Cooper Hempfling.
Yes, Cooper got the start, and
he was huge for us. He's a guy that's. I looked up at the coaches. We were talking. We had a meeting, and I just said, I'm not sure how you don't start Coop. He's done everything we've asked him. We ask him to play down, he plays down. We ask him to play up, he plays up. We ask him to come in cold and make free throws late in the game or knock down shots. Yes, sir. So he's the kind of his behavior this year and his stepping up to the plate. It's what we need out of a roster full of kids. And if we could get that, well, man, then you can actually really coach and you can really focus on improving in certain areas. And the JV team, in my opinion, is to develop. It's to get players to develop. And there's times where I've had Deshaun on JV. I mean, he's our leading scorer on varsity. But maybe he needed to develop in his passing, and I want him to really work on post-entry pass. Well, heck, that's what JV's for. And we get him in there, and when he doesn't need it anymore, we bump him up. But Coop was huge. Nobody's above playing JV. Nobody's above it at all. If you need to develop, you're going to be down there. And I'm really happy with some of the guys like Hayden Gilmore, his development on the junior varsity roster, Carmine, Dyson, those guys are Noah kicking butt on JV. That's where those guys need to come in next year and have that stuff down pat and be ready to do it at the varsity level.
Well, that's what it's all about, Coach. You take on Dexter. I know you have fond memories of the rivalry with the Bearcats.
Big time, baby.
Yeah, you go up to Dexter, and I know it'd be a big momentum boost for your team if you could pull off a win Friday night.
Huge. Besides the fact that it's Dexter, I mean, it's just a big win. It's a district opponent. It's a conference opponent. It's a team that we might see in districts. Coach Allen does a great job. They've got one of the leading scorers. Is he the leading scorer in the conference?
Yeah, I believe so.
Cole Nichols. They've got they have the all-time leader in three-point shots made at Dexter High School. Truman Crumpf or Kraft? Yeah, Kraft. Am I saying that right?
I believe that's it. Yeah.
But they're going to have a game plan. They're going to get back in that matchup zone and make us shoot threes. And we've been known to be susceptible to chunking them up. Hopefully we can attack the rim and get some high percentage shots. My favorite, we beat Dexter at Dexter my junior year. So that would have been Anton McKinney, Prentice Brown, Larry Green, that group, Dustin Pritchett. They were 27-0. 27-0, number one team in the state. We put it on them at Dexter in front of a sold-out crowd. I remember Anton just couldn't miss. We weren't going to lose that one as long as we got the ball to him, and we were smart enough to go get it, baby.
Well, always a great game when Kennett and Dexter meet up, and that'll be Friday night. Coach, I know you got to load the guys up and head to Poplar Bluff. We appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Appreciate what you guys do. Appreciate all the support, guys. Keep it up. We're making strides.
All right. That's Kennett Indian head basketball coach Noll Billings here on the Kennett Indian Coaches Show.